CruCast is proudly sponsored by ExtremeStream.io, frontrunners in sports streaming. At ExtremeStream.io, our goal is to provide the ultimate live streaming experience for sports events. ExtremeStream.io. You dream it, we'll stream it.
Join me, Conrad Anderson,
and me, Tony Rogers,
for all things rugby league.
Finds Roby. Roby will find Cole Oakley, who will score the first try in this friendly.
We will bring you every kick,
every try,
every tackle, and we'll have interviews
with the coaches
and with the players
to gauge their thoughts and opinions.
Swinton have conceded a few penalties which led to this field position for North Wales Crusaders, and Gibson puts the...
We'll have features on the only professional rugby league club in Wales, that is North Wales Crusaders.
It's 10-0 with the kick to come.
Welcome to CruCast.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of CruCast. Coming up, North Wales Crusaders. We're back home in the Championship, but could they get their first victory of the league? We will find out, and we will hear from Dean Muir, and our player interview comes from Tom Bridge. Also coming up, Clive Griffiths was the honorary guest at North Wales Crusaders on Saturday. Of course, he was the inaugural North Wales Crusaders coach. We will have an interview and go down memory lane with him. Plus, we'll have all the action from the Championship, the Super League, and preview the World Club Challenge. All that and more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Yes, good evening and welcome to another edition of CruCast. I'm delighted once more. I'm with my co-host Tony Rogers. Tony, how are you this week?
Very well, thanks, Conrad. And yourself?
I'm alright, mate, yeah.
Good.
Cold out there, isn't it?
Absolutely freezing, yeah.
Absolutely freezing, but we're going to warm your cockles up by talking rugby league for the next 60 minutes and our beloved North Wales Crusaders. And yes, they were back in action at the weekend. It was Championship action and they took on Swinton Lions, who of course got the double over Crusaders last season, but could they get the revenge this season? The answer was an emphatic yes, and North Wales Crusaders stormed off to a great lead, actually, didn't they? What did he say? 11 try scorers, wasn't it?
No, nine tries, all different try scorers, yeah.
Can't count, can I? Can't count. Anyway, the tries came from 48-22 was the score. Ione scored on the 9th minute. England followed up 3 minutes later on the 12th minute. Hatton scored on the 17th minute. That was the free try blitz. Geordie Gibson put the kick in for Forward to score. Barrett started the second half like a house on fire and scored on the 44th minute. Baldwin followed on the 46th. Greg Eden scored on the 55th minute, and Thomas Bridge scored on the 63rd minute, and Dennis Moran, he played for Witnessing, didn't he?
He did.
Moran 75 minutes, and Patton 4 goals, and Gibson with 2 goals. The tries from Swinton were Irwin, Kelly Duffy, Fitzgerald and Hyam, and the final score, like I said, was 48 points to 22. And here are the thoughts of Dean Muir. Now I'm delighted, I'm joined by the North Wales Crusaders head coach Dean Muir. Dean, congratulations for picking up the first victory of the Championship campaign, one of many, I would have thought. But Dean, Swinton Lions, how did you make I'll start this interview again because I started that wrong, bear with me. And I'm delighted I'm joined by the North Wales Crusaders head coach Dean Muir. Dean, congratulations for the first victory of the campaign against Swinton Lions. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought we were really good for 55, 60 minutes. And then I thought we took our foot off the gas and didn't complete the game how we started it or progressed through. I think at 42-6 we became really comfortable. And that's not the position we need to be in. And we spoke about it this week a number of times, playing for 80 minutes, especially over these next couple of games and going through the season. We need to become an 80-minute team. But for that 55, 60 minutes, I thought we were outstanding, and they couldn't really handle us, to be honest.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I thought, Swinton threw a lot of shape at you in the first 5-10 minutes, and they looked threatening. But it took a bit of ill discipline from them for you to capitalise. And in North Wales Crusaders fashion, you scored 3 quick-fire tries, and I think that was replicated that in the second half as well. But as you said, it was the latter end of each half where you sort of, let tries in. We'll go into that in a minute. But the 3 back-to-back tries, I think it was Ione, England, and Forber that scored the 3 tries in the first half. You must be pleased how they came about.
Yeah, definitely. We ID'd some stuff on video through the week, and to see that come to fruition was brilliant for us, and it shows that little bit of planning, that little bit of extra effort, and that attention to detail really does work. And we got some joy where we said we'd get joy. So that was a nice thing to see. Probably in both halves, I thought when we were in good ball and coming into their red zone, so to speak, we were very good, and we challenged them in lots of ways, and we got joy how we said we would, and it's something that we can build on this week. We've done a lot of work on Newcastle, and we need to make sure that we get the same result this week.
Hi Dean, it's Tony here. Congratulations.
Hi Tony.
Well done. It's always nice to get the first points on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a relief sometimes, and it gets you started for the year.
Exactly. We knew they were going to come, but when they do come, it's always pleasing to see you actually. You're on the board basically. But what I think must please you tremendously is that you scored A, 9 tries, and B, I make it 9 different try scorers.
Yeah. Oh, look, we've got points all over the park, and it was pleasing to see the middles score this week. Obviously, Mark scored, Chris Barrett scored, Pat Moran all got over. I know a lot of our tries in pre-season and for the Challenge Cup, a lot of them were scored out wide. The wingers and centres getting lots of tries, and the full-back too. But the middles going through the middle, we said that would open up, and it did. So I was pleased for them that they followed the game plan and got themselves over the try line.
Yeah, nice one. I mean, I'm sure it has happened before, but I don't ever recall for any team, be it Super League, League One, Championship, having 9 different try scorers in one particular game. It's most unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely unusual. We've had a couple of times where Forbes has grabbed a couple of tries, Jaden's grabbed 2 or 3. That's generally how it happens, but it was pleasing to be spread across, and it just shows that we're a threat from 1 to 17, aren't we? And that's something for the opposition to really think about, is they can't just stop 2 or 3 of us, they've got to stop all of us.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was about to make that point now. It must be a nightmare if you're an opposition coach about to face North Wales Crusaders, because if you've got 2 or 3 where your firepower is reliant upon 2 or 3 players, well then, from an opposition point of view, that's got to be easier to sort of try and remedy. But when you're scoring tries for fun all over the bloody team, well then that must be a nightmare for opposition.
Yeah, definitely. It's something for them to deal with. For us, we'll attack the same way, and everybody around the ball will always be an option, and we'll move the ball how we see fit to manipulate space and get the joy that we need. And we'll continue to do that, and hopefully we'll continue to be a test for opposition coaches on how they defend against us and what systems they put in place.
Yeah. Dean, you said in previous interviews that you learn in every game, and I'm sure one of the things you did learn was the versatility of players, because you were forced to move players around because of the Forber injury. He was forced to come off. First things first, how is he? How bad is it? What's the diagnosis?
We're still waiting for the swelling to go down, if I'm honest. It's a bit of a bad blow. There's no break in there. We don't think there's a full rupture or tear in it. So we just think it's a bad hematoma at the minute. I think is the technical term, not being medical qualified, but hopefully he's booked in to see the physio tonight, and we'll get some more feedback going forward to see if we can put him in the 21 or not this week.
Well, good luck to him, I say.
But his injury meant that you had to manoeuvre the squad around, and Gibber was moved to centre. Westwood went into halfback with Beck Patton. Greg Eden, I think, went on the wing. But these are the lessons you are going to learn because of this is part and parcel of the game after all, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We're lucky that we have players that can play 2-3 positions. The majority of our back line can play 2 or 3 positions, which is great for us. And some of our middles can play in the back row, and some of our back rowers can play on an edge, and 2 of our back rowers can play through the middle as well. So that flexibility within your team is important. It also allows us to adapt the bench. So in the first couple of games, we've generally carried a utility, like a 14, as you'd say, especially from the NRL. The player 14 that can go on and play anywhere. But then again, some other teams will definitely have to play a larger bench where we put more middles on. So having flexibility in your team allows you to adapt your bench as well, which is perfect for us.
I touched on top of the interview, it wasn't a picture-perfect performance, of course, because you conceded 3 late tries at the back end of the second half. And I'm going to be honest with you, Dean, I was a bit frustrated with that because I know that it's not... it's part and parcel of the game and things like that. These things do happen. And the quick fixes. But as you said, you mentioned it, when you play against better opposition, that can't happen, can it?
No. The very end try was a swing and knock on when you watch it back for the one-on-one. We stripped it and it's gone forward. But other than that, the other 2 we just invited pressure, and we didn't finish sets how we wanted to finish them. And when you invite that pressure, they generally fall over. And their half-backs and Gav Rodden had started to throw the ball around and chance it and see if they could move us into positions that they wanted, and they got some joy on that, which is extremely frustrating. There's some simple one-on-one misses. The annoyance for me was that it wasn't the number of penalties, although I wasn't happy still that it was high, but it is getting better. It was the number of just clean one-on-one missed tackles, which is a technique issue, and sometimes a willingness for the player to put the body on the line. And in that last 20 minutes, we probably didn't see enough of that. And that has been addressed, and the individuals know that. But 17 missed tackles across the game is not good enough.
I've always known it. I call it scoreboard complacency, Dean. I think subconsciously, if you're out there and you win by 30-odd points, nearly 40 points, you have a tendency in the back of your mind to turn off to a certain degree. But I guess that wouldn't happen against the likes of Newcastle, London and whoever else that we're going to come across in the coming week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely, mate. I agree. Like the next 2 are full time, and Batley following them. If we look at our next 3 fixtures, are season championship performers, and we've got to be ready to play for 80 minutes, because if we're not, we're going to get caught and get stung, aren't we? And the guys know that. And to be a good team and to be a team in the playoffs, you've got to compete for 80 minutes. And tonight on Sunday we did it for 55, 60, which just shows we are a good team because we pulled that far ahead. But we need to find that ruthless streak and be able to do it every week.
You mentioned about Newcastle Thunder. They're not invincible. They did have their first defeat of the season against Dewsbury. So, but you are going to expect a bit of a reaction from them because they're back home again, aren't they? We've got to go up to the North East. What are you expecting from Newcastle? It's not a gimme, with respect to Newcastle from previous seasons. It's not a guaranteed 2 points, so to speak.
No.
But they are full of season championship players that have not made Super League with York, so they're no fools, are they? And they are going to test you. Where will the game be won and lost, in your opinion?
The game will be won and lost in and around the ruck and the discipline around there, and it'll be won for us around their interchange. If we can trigger their middle interchanges before ours, that'll give us a good standing to be able to kick on as to what we want to do. But challenging that full-time team and initiating that initial change is a tough one. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But in order to do that, I think our outside backs have got to come and meet their carry targets. So it'll be around discipline and around that ruck areas where we'll be looking this week.
And just finally, before we let you go, Dean, 1885 Cup draw was made on Sunday night. We have Midlands Hurricanes at home. We haven't got a preliminary fixture. What's your thoughts on all of that?
Happy not to have a preliminary fixture, obviously with the small squad and the injuries what we've got at the minute. Really happy with that. The home draw to Midlands is a tough one. They've invested heavily in their squad and their staff, and they're a good side. I've obviously watched them against Newcastle, and they're very well drilled. Mark Dunning's got them playing well, and he has done for a number of years. So they'll be a massive test for us. But it's where we want to be. We want to be playing these good sides week in, week out. So it's exciting for us.
And I guess you'd have settled for a home draw in the first place, Dean.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want to be travelling away. I know some clubs are travelling away to London, aren't they, or going to Cumbria in these early rounds, and it's a long trip that we probably don't need. So really happy for the home side.
Yeah, nice one.
Well, Dean, go well. Good luck with the training this week, and we'll see you in the North East on Sunday.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Dean.
Cheers, bye. Bye-bye.
CruCast is proudly sponsored by ExtremeStream.io, frontrunners in sports streaming. At ExtremeStream.io, our goal is to provide the ultimate live streaming experience for sports events. ExtremeStream.io. You dream it, we'll stream it.
So that was Dean Muir, the North Wales Crusaders head coach. Tony, I said at the beginning of the interview he was a bit frustrated because of the tries that North Wales Crusaders conceded, but was overall happy with the performance in regards to the points scored and the manner we scored the points. And as you alluded to in that interview, 9 different try scorers, which doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen. And yeah, Dean's thoughts echo exactly what we thought his feelings were, and that for the majority of the game, absolutely on fire, but took our foot off the pedal late on, considering those 3 late tries, basically, which put a false slant. It's still a comfortable victory on paper, but it could have been an awful lot more comfortable had we not switched off in the latter stages. But by then the game was won.
Yeah, he has said that you learn more from a defeat than you do with a victory, but I would say that he probably did learn a bit more about his team this time round because of the injury sustained to Forber, which, by the way, doesn't sound good because they still don't know the diagnosis and probably won't play this weekend, but we don't know. He's getting assessed as we speak. But the versatile of players playing in different positions, that will be a heartwarming.
Every cloud has a silver lining, but it's a bit disturbing to hear that Luke's injury hasn't even settled down after the 4-day period, I make it. So good luck to him with his physio appointment this evening, I think Dean said. But yeah, you're right, it proved the versatility, particularly along our back line, where you had the opposite of square pegs in round holes. Everyone looked comfortable in their different positions, should we call it that. So that augurs well for the coming season, I'd suggest.
But also, he could have players coming back in this weekend.
Yes.
Danny Addy. You've got Arvan to come in.
Yeah, Patty's on them. Yep.
You got Jake Spedding to come in.
Yep.
And a few other. Brad Foster. That's 4 players.
Yeah.
Winger, centre, hooker.
There's plenty of options, isn't there?
Plenty of options. So it's not all doom and gloom for North Wales Crusaders, and of course we're using the depth and squad straight away. You have to. Too many games.
Exactly.
He did mention about Newcastle, and I asked him where this game will be won or lost. About the backs, he said. It's all about the backs. So he's predicting a fast game then, is he? Yeah,
well, I don't see why not. I mean, we've talked about this to the nth degree in the relatively short time the season's been going, but Dean's expansive style of play lends itself to an open game, doesn't it? Which is what we all, as rugby league fans, love to watch.
You did allude to there was 9 different try scorers, and one of those try scorers was Tom Bridge, who made his debut at the weekend, and I was delighted that he made his debut for CruCast, and this is what he said earlier. Now, I'm delighted this week's play interview comes from the one and only Tom Bridge. Good evening, welcome to CruCast. Tom, how are you?
Hey, Cameron, are you alright?
I'm alright, thank you. Just to let you know as well, we've got my co-host Tony. He'll ask you a couple of questions, I'm sure, throughout the interview. However, it was your debut game against Swinton Lions at the weekend. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. It's what we've been working towards all pre-season, so it was good to get the opportunity.
Yeah, great opportunity for you. But you're from a good system, aren't you, Tom? For those who don't know, you're from the Wigan setup, aren't you? You've done your sort of youth training, your scholarship, shall we call it that, through the Wigan system, and you've been given an opportunity with North Wales this season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but you scored a great try at the weekend. Just tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I just remember getting the ball on the wing and then I was like cutting back inside and I seen a bit of a gap and backed myself and thankfully it paid off.
Yeah, because not many people would do that. You went through like a cul-de-sac, didn't you? And then you sort of that didn't sort of go anywhere. And then you went 360, found the gap and backed yourself, like you said, and scored.
Yeah, I just seen it opening up in the middle and then I seen I was one-on-one with a full-back and obviously just backed myself.
Yeah. How is training? You know, you've been with the lads for a couple of months now. How is it for you? You're going into that sort of semi-professional environment.
Yeah, really good. There's a lot of lads there with like good experience and stuff, so I'm learning a lot from them.
Good. What's your preferred position?
Rather anywhere in the outside backs, really. Probably wing or centre.
Yeah. Have you played a lot? Have you played a lot of those in a lot of those positions? What's your preference?
I'd probably say I prefer playing in the centres, but in the academy at Wigan, I played a lot on the wing.
Yeah.
Hiya, Tom. It's Tony here. Welcome to CruCast. A second debut in about 4 days, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, tell us about the move to North Wales came about. Presumably, were you released by Wigan or was it your choice to leave there? And how did you...
So I was released by Wigan and then I went on loan for a little bit to Salford. Right. I was training there with the first team and then my agent just mentioned North Wales and I said I'd give it a go. And I went on trial and then, yeah, that's it really.
Nice one. And the moves, obviously, I know it's early days yet, but it appears to be paying off for you.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
So, what is the aim, Tom? Obviously, you know, with these things, it's when someone is injured, that's when your opportunity, you pounce the opportunity, grab it with both hands. Is it going to be? Are you aware that is the issue, and do you mind that?
Yeah, I'm just like waiting for an opportunity. Really, obviously, I played that game, but I don't know when Speds is back, so he'll probably go back in. But I'm just going to keep training, working hard, and hopefully get back in, get a few more games. And
that's the aim. What do you want to get out of this year then? Is it just to sort of, obviously you want to play every week, you want to play every time, but you're a realist and you know that ain't going to happen. So would you be happy with a handful of appearances? What is the aim?
Just get as many games as I can, really get some experience up and train hard. I want to put some size on as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot bigger bodies in this league compared to the academy, so get in the gym and keep working hard. Hopefully, get in the team.
Is that the biggest difference you've noticed, Tom, in your switch from the academy or whatever it's called these days in Wigan to a fully fledged man's game, if you like?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot more physical. Like through the middle, yardage carries and stuff.
Yeah, you're coming against a much bigger opposition, I guess, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So, obviously, who do you look up to within the team, Tom? You know, obviously you've got your leaders such as Gibbo, Evo, all the rest of them. Who do you look up, to the most? Who do you get on with? What is the banter like? That type of thing.
Yeah, it's good. I'd probably say the funniest probably Evo, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's got good crap. And then I think last game, Gibbo helped me a lot. Like, just told me to, be confident and back myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he helped me a lot last game.
Does that give you sort of a 10% boost, when you get a reassurance, so we call it that? I think, you're doing all right, do this, do that. Does that make you a better player, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say Pat as well, because he was on the bench and he was like, just like talking me through it in the game.
Yeah. And the
just
thing
giving
is,
like little pointers.
These players, well, I would say to you that these players have been in your shoes, once upon a time, and someone else was probably giving them the advice that they were giving you. And this is advice which money can't buy because they've sort of been through the experience to share it with you. So that is pretty valuable, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Tom, been great to speak to you, and let's hope we'll see you on the pitch so many times this year. I'm sure it will happen, and good try for you, which you scored at the weekend.
All right, thanks, Tony.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, you too, bye.
And that was Tom Bridge, and I've got to say, Tony, I'm very delighted that players do come on, and it's not for everyone, is it? Interviews, and it was the first time for anything he's done like this for Tom, and I thought he did very well. He came across very well.
I thought he did great. I mean, as an academy player at Wigan or wherever else for that matter, you ain't going to get interviews every week with radio stations or things, podcasts like this and whatever. So yeah, absolutely great. And how well did he take that try as well, by the way?
Yeah, one of my favourite tries actually, because I said on one of my socials, guess which was one of my best tries, and it was that one. But what I liked about what he said was, what do you want to get out of this season? And he basically said as many games as he wants, and I thought it was pretty good that he said he's learning a lot from the senior players, such as Gibbo, Arvan, Josh Eves, people like that, that calibre.
Well, you can't buy experience, like we keep saying on the show here, and that's something through no fault of his own Tom hasn't got yet. But what I would suggest is, if he continues to perform on the chances that he does get, he's going to make it awfully difficult for Dean to leave him out in future. And I guess that has to be his aim, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and obviously Jake Spedding, of course, sat out, and obviously he might be in this weekend, but he knows that he only a few games away, that he might be back in again. It's such a hard, brutal league, this, isn't it?
It is
galore.
Yeah.
Right, let's go through the other Betfred Championship scores. Goal Vikings 14, the Hurricanes 28. Hurricanes back on the winning horse.
Yes, they're tipped to do well, as they were last season, and they're a good outfit.
North Wales 48, Swinton 22. The rest were on Sunday. Batley Bulldogs 12, Doncaster 16. A close affair, that. Doncaster coming on the right end.
Donny is going to be up there or thereabouts, I reckon.
High scoring game at Newcastle. Newcastle 28, Dewsbury 38. Now, are you shocked with this result?
Shocked, I think, is an overstatement. Surprised, maybe, yes, because Dewsbury didn't show a lot last season. I have no idea what they've done squad-wise during the close season, but, as we've said on previous shows this season, Newcastle are well fancied, so for Dewsbury to go up there and get the win is an excellent result on their behalf.
Hornets 3 out of 3 in the championship so far, 24 points to 10 against Keighley Cougars. Salford 29, Hunslet 18, and that is a considerable victory because that's their first league victory for Salford since their reincarnation. I'm pleased for Mike Grady.
Yes, I was about to say, pleased for Mike, yeah.
And Whitehaven 0, Barrow 30, Barrow having the bragging rights in the Cumbrian derby there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been the strongest Cumbrian side for the last 2 or 3 seasons, haven't they, by virtue of their championship place. So perhaps the margin was surprising there, but the fact that Barrow came away with the 2 points doesn't surprise me.
And Workington 10, Widnes 22, a win on the road there.
Yeah, grand hour result apparently.
Now, some good news for Halifax fans because they have come to a conclusion where there could be a team as late as March the 3rd when they play against London Broncos, is what I've been told. So I'll just read something, paraphrase it again, and this is a statement. As you're probably aware, Martin Buchanan and Steve Lampard have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the survival of the club. The Halifax Trust had a meeting early in the week and were given some very positive news. The funding required by the Rugby Football League is virtually in place, and the intention is to try and get the club up and running for the London game. The new group will honour all season tickets and sponsorships. During the discussion, they asked going forward that there's a greater degree of transparency and better communication from the club. So great news for Halifax, and it seems that they will fulfil their fixtures come this season.
Yeah, that came as a surprise to me, Conrad, but what I would say from the playing side of things, if indeed that does come to fruition, I'm reading that an awful lot of their players have gone to other clubs. So where does that leave the strength or otherwise of their playing staff? I don't know.
No, good, very good question. And just to be aware, make you aware as well, there was a Rugby Football League meeting yesterday, and two things that came out was the salary cap. There's going to be a salary cap in the Championship, and like there is now, but it's under the Super League rules. So it's like you compared with a Super League team, but the RFL have said, and it said what you said last week, that if you want to spend that much, you've got to provide proof and put the money down as a bond to say that's your salary cap. You can
long overdue.
Yeah, it's sensible though, isn't it?
Of course it's sensible, but as I pointed out, I think it was last week or the week before, I can't remember, football has been doing that for donkey seasons, like 20 odd years or whatever. So I don't know why Rugby League are now only catching up with that. You know, it's not easy for these clubs to raise the money for the bonds, but at least it is proof and it's stability for their staff, their playing staff, and indeed, last but not least, their fans, that they will not just commence the season, but also carry on right the way through to the conclusion of that season. There's no argument against that, surely.
No, absolutely. And the other part of the news was the news from Halifax that the RFL were very confident that they would field the team again in 2026.
Good.
So here is the recap of the... well, let's look at the fixtures actually for next week. On Friday in the Championship, we have Oldham versus Widnes at Bowerfield. Who's going to win that?
You've got to say Oldham, favourites.
Over Widnes?
Yeah, they spent a lot of money, haven't they, Oldham? Home advantage, if you can call it that, because if the stories are true, they've been kicked out of Boundary Park, haven't they? Which is Oldham Athletic Stadium. So that sort of negates the home advantage a little bit, I'd say. But looking at the two squads, I'm reluctant to say it, but I've got to go for a home win there.
Dewsbury Ghoul Vikings is the only game on the Saturday at 2:00.
Interesting one, that. That could go either way, couldn't it?
It could. And of course, Hurricanes will take on Batley, Keighley, Whitehaven, Newcastle Crusaders, Rochdale, Hunslet, Sheffield, Barrow, Swinton, London. What?
Some interesting fixtures there.
I need to do that again. I burped.
Yeah. You expected me to carry on, it just burped. I'll fart in a minute when you're in full flow. That'll fuck you about.
And the rest are on Sunday. Hurricanes, Batley, Keighley, Whitehaven, Newcastle Crusaders, Rochdale, Hunslet, Sheffield, Barrow and Swinton, London. And that is your Betfred Championship. We're not going to look at the table because it's early days and it can turn...
Yeah, a table means little or nothing at this stage, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now we're going to the 1895 Cup was drawn at the weekend as well, and we did speak to D Muir about that, didn't we? And this is the confirmation of the draw. We'll just get it for you now. Got it. The preliminary draw, London Broncos will take on Barrow Raiders, Workington Newcastle Thunder, Swinton will take on Sheffield Eagles. That's to be played on the weekend of the 14th and 15th. North Wales Crusaders do have that weekend off now. In round 1, London or Barrow will take on Keighley, Doncaster, Salford, Dewsbury, Widnes, Goole, Whitehaven, Oldham, Hunslet. Workington or Newcastle will take on Batley Bulldogs. North Wales will take on Midlands and Rochdale will take on Swinton or Sheffield. Now I've got to say, early on, Tony, the cup is wide open, isn't it? Because the big clubs are playing against one another, and if anyone who wants aspirations of winning a cup, like North Wales Crusaders may want to fancy that, they've got a good draw, aren't they, there?
Yeah, I echo Dean's earlier thoughts in that it's a good thing that we've dodged the preliminary round. I think there's only 3 matches in the prelim round, isn't there? But it's an interesting tie against Hurricanes. I leaving out any bias, I genuinely think that potentially is the tie of the round. But you're right. I hope this doesn't become like certain Premier League teams in the FA Cup, if you like, where they... what's the word? Disrespect, I would call it, by putting weak teams out. I think this 1895 Cup, is there for the winning for any club that takes it seriously. North Wales Crusaders, I'm sure will, and it is potentially a piece of silverware, not to be sneezed at.
No, absolutely, and with it comes a check.
Yes,
which you can't turn your nose on that. Right, so that's all your championship roundup. After this, we'll speak to a club legend.
CruCast is proudly sponsored by ExtremeStream.io, frontrunners in sports streaming. At ExtremeStream.io, our goal is to provide the ultimate live streaming experience for sports events. ExtremeStream.io. You dream it, we'll stream it.
And you're listening to CruCast. Now, on Saturday, North Wales Crusaders rolled out the red carpet for one of its own, a club legend, aka Clive Griffiths, who of course was the inaugural North Wales Crusaders coach way back in 2012 to 2014, and under his guise lifted the Northern Rail Bowl and the championship titles. I was delighted I spoke to him, and this is what he had to say. This afternoon, Clive Griffiths, the North Wales Crusaders' first ever coach. Welcome back. How are you? You okay?
Thank you very much, Conrad. It's absolutely delighted to be back here today on a fabulous Colwyn Bay day, and looking forward to a really tough game this afternoon.
Obviously, way back when you know the demise from Super League, a championship club, a club from the Phoenix, built from the Phoenix, you were the man to rescue to answer the call, I should say. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, it was one night in the Lord Darsby Hotel in Warrington where I met the board of directors, and they put a vision forward about the rebirth of the club, and I said, well, what have we got? And basically we started from scratch, literally from a blank sheet of paper, and from that little acorn grew into a big oak again, and I'm delighted to see the club still going strong, and there were some memorable years, you know, before I went back to Doncaster Knights, and we had some fantastic days and evenings. Too many to sort of mention now, but there were some really fantastic highlights. But above all, I think I was being involved with the club, and re-establishing it was the biggest challenge and the biggest satisfaction, really. And being involved with like-minded people and a fantastic set of supporters as well. I mean, they were out of this world.
Obviously, we can talk for a while. What were your favourite parts? But the first year, it was a near miss. The second year, you went for it. Some great games you were involved in. The Northern Rail Cup final against London Scholars is one I remember. First bit of silverware. But then it got to the point where we were in the sort of last chance saloon. Couldn't lose a game because we would have missed the playoffs, and we got very close to it all being over at Gateshead. Do you remember that? And it was, AKA Ryan McDonald rescued the game, didn't they? 1 minute to go, and continued that incredible charge. But it all came down to a game where we just needed 1 point, and I think there was a phrase that was coined. In Clive we trust. What did you make of that?
No pressure. I still haven't got the T-shirt, which we can have a look at later on. It was really do or die, basically. Knockout rugby. If we lost any of those games, and I remember Big Ryan, charging over up at Gateshead and scoring that try. So then we had to go to London and win that, which we did. Another really hard game, which was live on Premier Sports, if I remember. And then we only needed a point in the Scorpions game, in the last game at the racecourse, to win the league. All set up basically to win the championship on your own ground against your fierce rivals. Daly gets sent off in the first 10 minutes. We're behind just before half time. And then we came through, and I remember Mosley dropping a goal at the end to make it absolutely sure that we'd win the game. But the nerves were jangling, basically. We only needed that point, as I say, and a draw would be fine, or a loss. In those days, they had the bonus point system. But we came through a difficult game with 12 men, which I suppose epitomised what the team was about as well that year, and how together they were, never say die, resilient bunch of boys, but boys who could play as well, could play some good rugby.
How many radios did you break during that season?
That's a myth. That's his mistaken identity, I think. As Big Jim would say, Big Jim Mills would say, mistaken identity. It just slipped out of my hand that day as I was pointing towards the dugout.
You mentioned about our fans, and one abiding memory I remember is once the league was all won, we went to the local pub there outside that ground, the turf I think it was, and
you sang your version of Delilah, didn't you?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah. If I didn't have a bad throat, I'd do it now, but I do remember it quite well. My throat on that night, because we'd just won the league, as well lubricated at that moment in time. And there was no fear of driving home that night. We were all staying over, and Delilah boomed out large and loud, and everyone joined in. And if I remember, it went onto YouTube as well, and a million hits.
You're a legend in these parts, but Clive, you're still involved in the game, aren't you?
Yes,
You're at the student level and with Welsh Rugby League. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I'm sort of, my title is Performance Director with Wales Rugby League. It's all voluntary basis, of course. So helping sort of shape that area of the game as well, the performance side. It's more like a director of rugby role, which I've been doing in the past. Got some fantastic people working with Wales Rugby League, again on a volunteer basis, giving up their time. And the pathway is now in place from the kiddies right through to the seniors. So that's really gratifying in itself. But also for my sins, I still coach the Welsh students. They lost a coach, and so I put my hand up, and I've got some great people working with me on that as well. We'll take over in years to come. But just to keep the hand in there and getting out there and them keeping you young again, these lads, and keeping you running around and keeping you on your toes. But yeah, it's just lovely to be involved in the game again, and just sort of for day to day, it's so rewarding to see that all this happening now underneath the surface.
I noticed we had a bit of a tour, didn't we, around the ground? We took you into the home changing room. Did it bring back a bit of fire? Did you think, were you preparing your sort of speech or whatever you would do, your pre-match rituals or whatever it is?
People say this, you must mellow over the years, but now pre-match is something special. You still get the nerves. When that goes, I suppose you may give the game away then. Yeah. But going in there then just brought back a huge amount of memories, and every time you walk in the change room before, and there's that buzz, the expectation, the unknown, what's going to happen, and all the preparation you've done then, that's done and dusted. It's them when they cross this line here, it's their game then. You can influence a little bit, but really the work is done in the week. But you go into the change beforehand, it's all part and parcel of the occasion, and why you do this, why you keep doing it for every year.
Clive, we could talk forever, but thank you for coming on, and enjoy your day.
It is indeed a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, so that was Clive Griffiths. Tony, great legacy he'll leave, won't he, at North Wales Crusaders? A lot of people will remember him.
Absolutely massive, yeah. I mean, who will forget that day at the racecourse when we beat, I think, what they called South Wales Scorpions in those days, to clinch the League One title, so put us in the championship for the first time ever. So and then there was the cup win as well. So magnificent legacy he's left. But not just Crusaders, through the game in general. Let's be honest, in both codes.
Absolutely, and I was talking to him at the weekend, and he was telling me when he was the assistant coach of Warrington Wolves under Brian Johnson. That was way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And of course, he guided Wales to a semi-final in 1995.
He did.
And in 2000, got within 80 minutes of the final, didn't he? And were leading the world champions Australia for 60 minutes.
Yep.
All those memories, and of course, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Clive Griffiths. And of course, if you've missed the man on Saturday, don't worry, he'll be back because his team, who's the Wales students, who's now in charge of that, will play against the development side. That will be a curtain raiser on the game when North Wales Crusaders take on Batley. I think that is the first weekend of March. I think it's the 10th of March, something like that. But we'll let you know that later in the month. Right, we're going to turn our attentions to the Betfred Super League because that kicked off at the weekend. It all happened on Thursday. It was York, the new boys, taking on Hull Kingston Rovers, and on paper you'd think Hull Kingston Rovers would comfortably win this, but that's why I don't bet, and York wanted to ruin the Hull Kingston Rovers party and start Super League with a bang, and that's what they did, Tony. A great victory for them. But it didn't help with Mikey Lewis being sin-bin. That was the turning point in that one.
No, that was should we politely call it a sudden rush of blood to the head on Mikey Lewis's behalf.
He went in front of the disciplinary panel and he got 5 points for his which lets him play in the World Club Challenge this week. If it was 6, he would have been banned for 2 games. So obviously with the World Club Challenge and Vegas on the horizon, the disciplinary doing him a favour there, I think.
Yeah, controversial, but I guess it's the right outcome.
Yeah, and the Super League, of course, continued at the following day, which was the Friday, of course, Friday the 13th. Catalans 26, Huddersfield 10. Catalans renowned for the sunshine. It was a midden of the pitch.
It was, yeah, absolutely muddy.
Lee Leopards 26-14 against Leeds. Now I looked at that result and I thought, well, we didn't do too bad against them.
No,
the Pape running the show.
They're a fine side. They are. There's no question about it.
And Warrington Wolves 24, St Helens 14, and a lot of controversy leading into this one. Percival's contract being lost. A lot of talk about things need to change at the top of the St Helens, i.e. the board, and that happened on Monday because Mike Rush, the CEO, ends his 27-year tenure at the club, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, they've been on, they're still a damn good side, let's be honest, but they've been on should we say, a slight downward trajectory over the last 2 or 3 seasons, haven't they, since that unprecedented run of success which they enjoyed. So something needed to change, and I guess they see this as being the way forward.
Hull FC 27, Bragville Bulls 20, what a humdinger that was.
Yes.
And Wakefield 16, Toulouse 18. So the 2 new teams getting day 1 wins, and didn't expect that, to be honest.
No, and if I was a coach of an established team in whatever division, the last thing I'd want to do for my first game of the season is to have a new team, because their tails up, they're flying. They've still got an overhang of the confidence and success from the previous season and such like. We'll see how Toulouse and York go in the coming weeks. But I would suggest that I was a Hull KR fan or a Wakey fan, I wouldn't have wanted those 2 opponents in the first week for that reason.
And also Wigan Warriors started their campaign away from home, and they defeated Castleford 26 points to 16 there. So there we are. Some injury news coming out of that game as well. Wigan Warriors centre Jake Wardle will be sidelined for a period of around 10 to 12 weeks when injury picked up last week, so a big shame for him. And also Castleford have reported an injury as well, and they're out for the season, I believe. We'll have a quick look at that now. But always bad to start the season with an injury, and that's your end. And
that's the last thing you want, isn't it? And Jake Wardle's a hell of a player, isn't he?
Absolutely. And of course, Ashton Goulden is a new recruit for the Tigers, coming from the Giants to the Tigers, and he will add a bit of experience there.
Yeah, I watched this game. It was live on the iPlayer, wasn't it? And I have to say that Wigan were Wigan, and they didn't really have to get out of third gear, I felt, to get the better of Cass, who defended stoutly at times, but they didn't offer an awful lot with the ball, I felt. So they need to make some adjustments ASAP, I would suggest.
Just a confirmation of that injury, it was Blake Taraf who suffered a ruptured ACL in Sunday's game with Wigan, and he will miss the rest of the Super League campaign. And
that's rotten luck, isn't it?
It is rotten luck, and we wish him the speediest of recoveries.
Yep.
Now, World Club Challenge. Hull Kingston Rovers take over the Hull FC Stadium against the Brisbane Broncos. Big game this in the context of Super League and NRL. Hull Kingston Rovers, have not had the best preparation, playing Loch Lane in the Challenge Cup, 100 odd points posted, defeat against York, and then go into this one. Not the best preparation, is it?
It isn't. But if you can't get up for a World Challenge match such as this, well then there's something wrong, and it should be great. And it's on BBC Three, I believe, live, isn't it?
It's on BBC Three, on Sky Sports, and all on about 10 channels. Just to note as well, Tony, your score predictions from last week, you got 6 of them right.
Yeah, that won't happen again, I'll tell you.
No. So Hull Kingston Rovers, Brisbane Broncos, who's going to win that?
I'm going for Hull KR.
Yeah, I think I will. Full house, home advantage.
I think it's sold out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is sold out.
Doesn't it hold about 23,000, something
like that? Yeah. The Bulls take on Catalans. It's Super League's back at Oddsall for the first time in about 15 years. Who's going to win that?
I'm hoping for a Bulls win for Carl's sake. And again, they've improved in recent seasons, Catalans, but traditionally they don't travel well. So I see this as an ideal situation for the Bulls to post their first 2 points of the campaign.
Warrington, of course, sit the week out because their opponents were supposed to be Hull Kingston Rovers, but they are obviously in the World Club Challenge, so Warrington will play that game. It'll be rescheduled later on in the year. Leeds return to Headingley before they go to Vegas. They take on York Knights.
That'll be an interesting one, isn't it? Again, York will be pumped up after their success last season and then beating the reigning champions on their own patch. But I would say going to Headingley is a different kettle of fish. So I fancy a Leeds win there, I've got to be honest.
And St Helens will take it on Lee.
Oh, that's a tricky one, that is. I mean, Saints need a win, don't they? Let's be honest about it, to start their season. I've got a fancy Lee for that one,
Yeah, I'm a Saints fan, and I probably would agree with you there. Toulouse return back home and take on Castleford. 6 o'clock kickoff there.
I'm going for a home win there.
And Wigan take on Hull FC.
Home win.
And on Sunday, Huddersfield take on Wakefield.
I haven't seen either team yet, so I don't really know. But, I mean, it's not going to happen, but let's go for a draw.
Okay. So, there we are. There is the Betfred Super League, and that is your predictions, Tony. See if you're right when we do this show again next week. Now, let's quickly talk about North Wales Crusaders. 2 tough games now in the context of the season away from home. Newcastle and then London Broncos. Got to take each game as it comes. But I was dreading the trip to Newcastle because of the quality of the team. But Newcastle can lose, and they lost against Dewsbury, and I think that has sort of tipped the scales a little bit to make it more of an even fixture.
It can go either way, can't it? It can make Newcastle even more determined to put things right, or it can mean their heads are down. So let's wait and see. But they're potentially our 2 toughest games of the season coming up in quick succession, because I think I'm right in saying they're the only 2 full-time teams in the division, I think, aren't they? They're both on their home patches, so it doesn't come any more difficult than that. I would suggest, and I know Dean probably disagrees with this, but if you could get 1 win out of those 2 games, I think that's a job well done. But that's just my opinion.
Let's look at the first 5 fixtures. Widnes, loss, Swinton, win. Then you got Newcastle, London, Batley, the high-end championship clubs, weren't they? Apart from Newcastle, of course, but you know what I mean.
I'll amend what I've just said. If we can get 2 wins out of the next 3 games, I think that's a job well done.
I'd go 1 win out of the next 3 games.
No, I'm going to. I think we're capable. I do, honestly.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Well, we always like to. We always encourage you to comment on our shows, good or bad. We will read every single one of them, and we really do appreciate, don't we, the kind comments. You do come up to us wherever we are in the UK. If you see it at a home ground or whenever we travel away with a team, you do make yourself known, and you do say, enjoyed the show, Tony, enjoyed the show, Conrad. And it does really mean a lot to us. But what we'd like you to do is follow CruCast on Spotify. It does help grow the channel, and of course we're now on YouTube. You can listen to this on YouTube for those who haven't got Spotify. So that's how you can do it. We'll do it all again next week, shall we? Well, from now, thank you very much, Tony.
Pleasure as always, mate.
And Alan, thank you very much for producing the show, and thank you for listening. We'll do it all again next week. See you next Thursday. Let's be good, be safe, and enjoy your rugby league. Good night.
But if the swelling hasn't gone down after 4 days, well then it doesn't sound good, does it? Here we go again. Jesus wept.